Welcome. We are visiting Vedic mathematics adaptation of Devanagari format. In this context, we are face to face with the organization format of Saraswati Mantras. There are 10 Saraswati Mantras. These Saraswati Mantras are having geometric formats parallel with Divyank Vivastha KC values of these texts of these mantras. We have been visiting these geometric formats. However, here, before we proceed further with the entire range of geometric formats of this range of 10 mantras texts, it will be blissful to take note that each mantra is having its Rishi, Devta, Chand, Bij, Shakti, Kilkam, and Nyas process. These distinct mantras, Rishi, Devta, Chand, Bij, Shakti, Kilkam, and Nyas, are preserved in Saraswati Rahasya Upanishad. Here on your computer screen is a table. This table is tabulating Rishi, Chand, and Devta as column 2, 3, and 4, and fifth column is tabulating Bij, Shakti, Kilkam, Nyas formulations as composite organization. Sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with these distinct organization features of Saraswati mantras shall sit comfortably and be through these values preserved in Saraswati mantra. However, for the present, we are remaining focused on the metric formats of these mantras. First Saraswati mantra with its TC value 65 is going parallel with the format of 13th edge of cube within creator space 4 space standing coordinated with its transcendental origin. 5 space as origin. 13 multiplied by 5 is equal to 65 is the parallel reach for the TC values and the geometric format of Saraswati Mantra 1. 5 space as origin is in its initial state is as a point 5 space body, hypercube 5 in its point state. However, when this point status state of hypercube 5 unfolds itself fully as hypercube of 5, then this transcendence process within creator's space, because of its spatial order, will split 5 space body into a pair of 5 space bodies. This is called Visfort. It is this happening within creator's space at its transcendental origin, which takes us to formulation Brahma, the presiding deity of 4 space, as a formulation Brahma, being of TC value 29. So it is this happening within creator's space at its transcendental origin seat making five-space body within a solid dimensional frame of five dimensions as of value 15 together with value 14 of hypercube 4 as such a setup of value 29. It is this split of five space body hypercube 5 into a pair of hemispheres, transcendental sphere, five space sphere splits into a pair of hemispheres as northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere of values 17 and 19, which within a three-dimensional frame setup takes a value 7 for the southern hemisphere and 51 for its northern hemisphere. Saraswati Mantra 2 adopts the format of a southern hemisphere, and Saraswati Mantra 3 adopts the format of a northern hemisphere. One may have a pause here and permit the transcending mind to glimpse this transcendental explosion happening at origin, the transcendental origin, five space origin, four space, and a split of transcendental sphere into a pair of hemispheres as such, taking us to the geometric formats of Saraswati Mantras 2 and 3 respectively. It is this split of transcendental sphere into a pair of hemispheres that way releases its origin. We know that six space plays the role of origin of a five space, and six space itself is a creative dimensional order space. That is, four space plays the role of origin of six space. Now, this explosion, this split of a transcendental sphere into a pair of hemispheres simultaneously takes us to split of a three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions. This happening is there as the setup of three space is making a solid dimensional order of a five space. So at this split, at the dimensional level, there happens to be a release of four space as an origin. And that way, Saraswati Mantra 4 adopts the organization format, metric format of origin. Origin of three space is four space. Origin of four space is a five space. And origin of six space is origin of five space is six. So it is this sequential compactification origins at the center of hypercube is a value, is a feature, is a phenomenon, is a mathematics, a technology, a scientific value which deserves to be comprehended well. Sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity efforts to be parallel with the sequential organization of metric formats of Saraswati Mantras shall be parallel with this happening, beginning with three space as a solid body, acquiring a degree of freedom of motion within four space, the 13th edge standing coordinated with origin, which is a seat of a five space in the role of an origin, then the spatial order resulting into a split. It is a split of the transcendental sphere into a pair of half spheres, southern and northern hemispheres, taking us to the organization formats, mantras 2 and 3, and the release of the origin takes us to the organization format Saraswati Mantra form. This happening as a explosion at the seat of origin of force space, and a consequence thereof, their happening is split of the transcendental sphere into a pair of hemispheres and release of the origin. Sixth space is the origin of space. Therefore, at this phase and stage, reach is going to be space, and it is this reach which brings us to the geometric format Saraswati Mantra 5. The explosion process splits self-referral sphere, six-space sphere, into northern and southern hemispheres. Saraswati Mantra 6 adopts the format of the southern hemisphere of a self-referral sphere. One may have a pause here and take note that initially Saraswati Mantra 2 has adopted the format of southern hemisphere space, and now as Saraswati Mantra 6, the geometric format being adopted is southern hemisphere space. A step ahead, the split of the transcendental sphere, release of self-referral origin, six-space origin, results into the five-space as domain transiting and transforming into its role as a transcendental boundary space. So A raised to power 6 to 12, B raised to power 5 is the domain boundary ratio of hypercube 6. The boundary, the transcendental boundary of 12 components, 6 space stands coordinated, stands in terms of to coordinates within a dimensional frame of 6 dimensions of space. One have a pause here and permit the transcending mind to be parallel with this happening. See, the reach is up till 6 space. 6 space is a creative dimensional order. 4 space is playing the role of dimension of 6 space. So the split of these spheres into pair of hemispheres, that way parallel with quadruple dimensions of the creative dimensional order of 6 space, releases as many as quadruple northern hemispheres, and Saraswati Mantra 8 adopts the organization format of quadruple northern hemispheres. So the value 17.4 is equal to Divyang Vyavastha TC value of Saraswati Mantra 8. See now, we are in a 6 space. See now that 6 space is of a creative dimensional order. See that there is a split of a self-referral sphere, a 6-space sphere. So the split of 6-space sphere will amount to a release of 7 space as origin of 6 space, and the emerging space is a paramviyom. It is a transcendental space. It is of a value 4. It is self-interactive, self-evolving, self self-referral transcendental space because of the spatial order of the creative order of the self-referral space. One shall have a pause here and take note that two space plays the role of dimension of four space, four space plays the role of dimension of six. And that is why Saraswati Mantra 9 as of TC value 44, value 4 is at first place as well as the 6 at the next place, and split of self-referral sphere, release of a northern hemisphere of self-referral sphere, six-space sphere, adaptation by the 10th Saraswati Mantra. One shall sit comfortably with the transcending mind parallel with this inward split and progression and sequential reach from four space to five space to six space. There is a compactification of origins at the origin seed, means six space, five space, and four space as such stand compactified. There are knots, there are granthis. These knots sequentially unfolding. The modern mathematics comprehension of these knots as such is indicative of the existence of this geometric phenomenon. But the full spectrum of these features and values are here in this Upanishad and other Upanishads, which are making us alive, making us vibrative, making us blissful, making us face to face with all Hirde Granthi, the knots within the heart, which other words would mean compactification at the origin seat of the creator's space, fourth space, format of Hirde. Sadhakas fulfilled with the intensity of urge to be parallel with Vedic systems shall approach Vedic systems the Vedic way. This is the way of Vedic mathematics. This is the approach and processes of Vedic mathematics, Vedic sciences, Vedic technologies. These are Vedic systems. We have to be parallel with it. Thank you very much.